Here is one of the biggest reasons guitar players get stuck. Their technique stops improving. Because you can learn loads of amazing guitar solos and songs, but if your technique isn't good enough, you can't actually play it. But if your technique is amazing, you can play whatever you want. So, to help you along the way, I'm going to share 5 of the worst guitar mistakes that are also easy to fix. My name is Simen, and I'm a guitarist, music producer, and graphic designer from Norway. I'm here to share everything I learned so far in my journey and document what I learn in real time. Keep in mind that technique and playing super fast isn't everything that matters, but it will help you to play the music you love. So, it's important. Oh yeah. Let's start with mistake number 1. This is something I discovered way too late myself. And this will make a big impact on your playing. And the mistake is flat fingers. You don't want to fret the notes with a flat part of your finger, so not like this. Instead, you want to use your fingertips to fret the notes. So, like this. In this way, you can play with less effort. And it's especially important when you do hammer-ons and pull-offs. And to make it easier to use your fingertips, you should have some angle on your fingers. It's not flat like this, but instead something more like this. So almost like a spider. So not like this, but more like this. And speaking of spider, that's also a very good exercise to practice this. Let's go to mistake number 2, and that is wrong hand position. There are 2 main ways to position your fretting hand. The first one is thumb behind the neck. This is good for fast lines and legato. A good practice is to have a quite straight thumb and place it around the middle of the neck. Not too high and not too low. By having the thumb behind the neck, you make sure you have good support for your fingers to play efficiently. It will also give your fingers the biggest range. The second one is thumb over the neck. This is good for doing bends or getting a powerful vibrato. You can also use this on chords where you play the bass note with the thumb. This also gives you one extra finger available. This grip is also very common in blues playing. Even though these are the 2 main positions, your thumb is still going to move quite a lot when you're playing. And sometimes you'll not be strictly in one of the positions. And surprise, people have different thumbs. So it's important that it feels comfortable to you. Next, let's look at mistake number 3. This one is easy to forget about because you don't think it's that important. But it is. And a mistake is to play with too much tension. Instead, you want to play as relaxed as possible. But how do you do that? The first step is to just be very mindful about it. I'm sure if you really try to play as relaxed as possible, I'm sure you can do it just fine. Another thing you can try is to focus on smaller movements when you play. Because when you play with a lot of tension in your fingers, then you tend to also use bigger movements. So try to be as relaxed as possible and use small movements. both on your picking hand and your fretting hand. You have to really remind yourself to play like this in the beginning, but with some practice and time, it becomes muscle memory. By the way, I've made a complete roadmap of all guitar techniques and other guitar skills to learn in order, from complete beginner to pro. You can get it for free. I'll leave the link in the description. Next, let's have a look at mistake number 4. This is one of the worst ones in my opinion, and that is bad vibrato. You can easily spot a beginner if the vibrato is bad. The problem is usually when you don't understand how it really works. So let's break it down. Vibrato happens when you bend a string up or down multiple times. You can either bend upwards or downwards. I usually bend downwards on the 4 darkest strings. And upwards on the 2 highest strings, sometimes also the G string. You can use all fingers, but the ring finger tends to be the easiest one to control. And I often play the first or second finger without support from other fingers. But almost never without support on the ring finger, or the pinky if you have to use that one. Without support, it's harder to control the vibrato. To practice vibrato, you want to do controlled bends in time and gradually increase the speed. Mistake number 5. I want to end with what I think is the biggest mistake. Imagine that you are a baby and you're trying to learn to speak, but instead you decide you want to try to write a best-selling book instead. But the problem is that you can't speak and you can't write, so it's really hard to write a best-selling book. You're missing some important steps, and it's the same with guitar technique. You need to build a good general technique before you start working on crazy, advanced technique stuff. Here are 2 ways you can build a better general technique. The first one is through learning songs. Then you need to make sure you're actually challenging yourself, practicing the hard parts, and gradually learn harder songs. The second way is with general technique exercises. That is exercises that are good for your overall technique. Here's one of my favorite exercises for this. So that is 5 of the worst guitar mistakes. When I was creating this video, I actually started with a list with more than 20 guitar mistakes. So if you want a part 2, let me know in the comments. And if you want the 3 steps to a perfect picking technique, I'll talk about this in the next video. Bye!